It's a sound recognized in an instant.
Every veteran, I believe, is entitled to a flag folding and taps.
But did you know there's a shortage of buglers to honor our veterans?
The numbers have grown substantially. When you started, tell me how many you played a year up till now.
The first 8 years I played 5 to 6 a year, so I had about 50 in for the first 8 years. And then in 2012 I joined a second honor guard, and I am now at about 1835 for a total.
And about how many a week do you play?
6 or 7 a week. I average about 22 a month.
Tracy's on a mission to reach even more. She takes us to the heart of her story.
I'm Tracy Hepner, and I play taps for military funerals.
What started as a hobby became a way to serve.
Every veteran, I believe, is entitled to a flag folding and taps. I've played the trumpet through school, and then I hadn't played for a while, and then I started in a community band in Orion, and that gave me the courage to play at church. So after playing at church, one of the veterans asked me if I would play for a funeral that was coming up. And I said, I can, but I'm not military, and they said, that's okay. So that's how I got started with Orion Honor Guard.
Do you remember what it was like playing for that first funeral?
Oh, definitely.
What was that like for you?
The widow was crying, and therefore I barely made it through the song because I was crying too. It was very touching.
Did that affect your play at all?
The first one probably, but after that I learned to put myself someplace else. Every cemetery has a tree, and most likely it's in my view, so I focus on that tree and I focus on the phrasing of the song, and I just play it for that veteran and his family. The first 8 years I played 5 to 6 a year, so I had about 50 in for the first 8 years. And then in 2012 I joined a second honor guard, and I am now at about 1835 for a total.
And about how many a week do you play?
6 or 7 a week. I average about 22 a month.
And as we lose large numbers of our veterans, we are also losing buglers available for their final send-off. So much so that at many ceremonies, electronic bugles are played, or in some cases, a recording through speakers, honoring them in any way they can. So Tracy is working harder than ever to get to as many as she possibly can, serving 313 last year alone, the highest number ever for her. But she's also teaching young musicians to step forward.
I have been very encouraging to any trumpeters I meet, and in fact I got one gal at the Orion High School playing because there was a conflict. I couldn't play at an event over in Andover when I had an Orion event, and we encouraged her to do it, and so now they call her all the time.
Is it hard to play?
No. If you're a trumpet player, trumpets you can play in any key you want. My bugle, it's a B flat like a trumpet, so I have to play it all open.
A quick lesson in how it works.
It's all in the muscles in your mouth. It's called an embouchure. It's the muscles around your mouth. And you tighten your lips and your embouchure for higher notes, and you loosen them for lower notes. And as you play more and more, you learn to hear where you're supposed to be with that note, and it just becomes kind of natural.
It's like a very sophisticated kazoo then. It just has a simple reed and you control the breath.
Yeah, the kazoo you hum into, this you actually blow the air. You do a buzzing with your lips. I can't just do it now, but it's a process. Any brass player, you buzz on the mouthpiece, and then you just control it by the valves and the air flow and embouchure around your muscles in your lips.
But the real gift here comes from the muscle called the heart.
What does taps mean to you?
It's kind of, well, what it is, it's a final farewell to that veteran. They used to, when it originally started, it was played to end the day. And so this is the ending of their final day.
So she plays, each time a small gift for the veteran and their family. Such a special gift, even made more special in those rare instances when she doesn't quite hit the notes just right.
Oh, I belong to Bugles Across America, and they have told me that if I make a mistake, that's called a bugler's tear. That's just part of that veteran's tap for that day.
And there is something else I've never thought about. Imagine how hard it is to play when the snow and sleet of a cold Midwest winter is bearing down.
Sleet going sideways. I was with Scott Air Force Base Group, and my horn literally froze. As I started blowing the warm air into it, the frost was all over it. I played it, but it was not pretty. And so I contacted him because that was a request for Bugles Across America. I contacted him and he sent me this in a really nice case, and I said, "What owe you?" And he said, "Nothing. You go play that in cold weather."
That's when she turns to her secret weapon.
This was 1943. It's made of plastic. It was made during World War II when metal was scarce because it went all to the war efforts. So they started making plastics. It's Army issue, completely plastic, and even it works.
And she keeps working too. This time of year is the busiest.
Right now, a lot of the people had passed in the winter, and so families were having graduations or family gatherings, and so they were waiting to bury them until now when the weather's nicer and they can get family together.
Last year, she lost 6 members of her 3 honor guards. So she plays out of love, service, and respect.
What is your favorite part of playing this and doing what you do?
The respect I get from the families, I think, and just knowing that I'm giving a final respect for those veterans. It is just, it's very, I don't know, overwhelming sometimes, though. And I don't care how many times I stand there watching that flag on that casket or the folded flag being carried up, it gets my heartstrings, it really does.
Help us salute even more veterans. Check out buglesacrossamerica.org. You'll find that in the show notes, a link to that, and on my Facebook page, Metivier Media. Help us grow. Leave a comment, subscribe, share some of the stories with your friends, and check out both our YouTube and podcast channels. This is The Heart of the Story with Gary Metivier.